Welcome to Tuesday's Market SITREP or Situation Report. My call sign's Wiz. My name is Matthew Buckley. I'm the Chief Option Strategist here at Top Gun Options. And folks, this just, we could take up all day with talking about the stupidity that's going on in the National Football League. Yesterday, or after the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, who got my piece of shit of the award a day, ripped apart Afghan war veteran, decorated hero Villanueva, for going out and standing alone to the national anthem. This coach should be fired immediately. He deserves to publicly apologize to Villanueva. But if it couldn't get any worse, he shamed Villanueva so much that he came out and apologized for standing out there alone and not being a team member. Hey, Villanueva, you were my rock star of the day yesterday. Now you get my piece of shit award too, mainly because you're an Army guy, but also because really, you're going to take the side of a bunch of overly paid, pretentious, spoiled children acting like adults playing a game with a ball for millions of dollars over your country. Had it. Done with the NFL. We'll never watch it again in this house. My good guy of the day award goes to Ron Rivera. I spoke with Ron. This was my memory from 4 years ago. This past weekend, I spoke to the Carolina Panthers, him and Cam Newton, met Cam Newton and his guys. Ron said, hey, man, he actually was pretty good yesterday, and said, hey, everybody should stand. I told the guys I really think we need to do this. If we are to be united, we all stand, look at the flag, and be at attention. Ron, good dude. He was an assistant coach at the Eagles for a couple years, so Ron, I really appreciate your take on it. All right, here we go. Yesterday, the market went down Dow went down triple digits. VIX had a nice 10% spike on the impromptu press conference by the North Korean United Nations ambassador that Trump had declared war, and they're threatening to shoot down U.S. jets. They've boosted their coastal defenses following the declaration of war. The Wall Street Journal had an article, could North Korea really shoot down our bombers? Come on, folks. If we wanted to, the guy that operates the coastal defense battery, one of them, wouldn't even leave his house, okay? So whether it's jamming their radars, shooting at the site, and the self-defense capability of these bombers, these Joint Strike Fighter guys, these aircraft, folks, are the Wonder Woman jet. I can't even tell you the technology in these airplanes. So could they shoot down our bombers? Absolutely. It would be a 1 in a quadrillion shot. We would overwhelm North Korean air defense. They wouldn't even be able to see the radar screens with what we're going to do. But folks, obviously yesterday, Sarah Sanders Huckabee in the press conference said, we're not at war with North Korea, folks. We haven't declared war. We're flying in international airspace. But the North Koreans are saying, hey, the United Nations Charter has a right to self-defense, and we can even shoot these guys. Even though they didn't come into our international airspace, they're threatening us, and we'll shoot them down. Again, man, the war of rhetoric is getting pretty heated here, and all it takes is somebody to go bump in the night. Remember, a couple years ago, one of our EP-3 aircraft collided, really bad. Aviation's a self-cleaning oven, guys. Some shitty Chinese pilot flew too close and got eaten up by the propeller and got killed. And they made emergency landing on a Chinese island. They were held for 2 weeks, remember, under George Bush. Things go bump in the night, man. And this is all it's going to take is one North Korean private falling asleep on his artillery piece and firing a shot into Seoul, and it's game on. This is going to be bad, folks. And again, I don't want anything to happen. Those of us who have served know the horrors of war, and we're the last people in the world that want to see conflict because, most of the time we're sent over there by people that have never even worn a uniform or don't understand the horrors. So don't get me wrong. Like General Mattis said, war on the Korean Peninsula there would be no stock market, guys. The VIX would be at 190, forget 90 on Black Wednesday. Your portfolio is going to be at zero, and the hedges that you do have on will, they'll pay for maybe another AR-15 as we're all running around Planet of the Apes style. So I don't want this to happen, folks. But man, oh man, we better do something here. A good story, finally. Brazil letting in big oil firms after keeping them out for a decade. I wonder why. Petrobras, the Petrobras scandal and all the you see the word Brazil, you see the word scandal. So we'll talk about EWZ today at 10 a.m. in our primary live trade briefing, Getting Long Brazil. The EWZs had an historic run. Take a look at the EWZ. We've been trading this since before the World Cup, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Here's the JBS, the guys that I know, unfortunately, that were involved in the political scandal. Told you to get long the EWZ here, and the things just had this rip your face off rip your face off rally. So we're going to talk nice little, running out of a little bit of airspeed here. I said, I'm not going to get it, when a thing's on a tear, either join it or get out of the way. Well, I got out of the way for a little bit. Seeing a little bit of rollover here. We might get in the EWC today. We'll talk about that. Speaking of oil, near 26-month highs. Really, remember, the market only cares when it cares, and we haven't heard about oil in a long time. That's because it's fine, and it's getting higher. So good news there. The headlines, folks. The tech sell-off, it's not a tech crash. It's more of a tech kind of Steve Austin tumbling down the runway crash or mishap. We'll call it a mishap, not necessarily a crash. Yellen's speaking. There's a bunch of Fed lieutenants talking this week, so we might see some back and forth on that. But yeah, I mean, the FANGs have seen the biggest plunge in 3 months. Last time we saw this was that tech wreckish time back here, right there. It was a Friday afternoon, a little bit of a follow through on a Monday, and then they recovered. Come on, folks, we're not going back to using wax tablets or carrier pigeons anytime soon. So on these type of pullbacks, and we talked about this little handle. It looks like a toilet seat right here. That's a very, very technically significant level there. The 157.5, when I put on a bull put spread this time last week, seems like a lifetime ago, was a stupid call because I thought that was going to be support right there, and it flew right through it. This is one of those times where even if you have an adjust and eject on a trade, it's one of those Donald Rumsfeld, unknown unknowns. Boom. So we'll talk about all this at 10 a.m. About what happened with Facebook as well. Goldman again out with their the Death Star warning. Hey, how much further can we go higher? This is the 5th longest streak in our stock market's history without a correction. So does this thing just keep going up and up and up and up and up to the right side of the chart, Wiz? Of course it doesn't. This thing is going to have a Fred Sanford moment, and it's coming. I'm not the crazy guy on the I-95 exit ramp with the tinfoil hat, but the day of reckoning is near. So again, long vol out the next month, and long puts on the S&P 500. It's just, and if you don't do it, it's like having a gun, folks. Better to have one when you need it than not have one when you need it. And it's the same thing with hedges. Okay. All right, I got to run. If you didn't get a full throttle slot for here at Top Gun Options, I'm still going to open up. We can have unlimited folks in the academic portion, right? So we usually charge about $495 for access to Doug's 8 sessions. But what we're going to do is I'm going to cut that down to $195 since we had a lot of people who wanted to get a full throttle slot who couldn't. Let me at least get you in the academic portion so you can enjoy some of Doug's training, and then maybe the next time around we do a full throttle launch, or Options Weapons School, I think, is going to be our next launch. You guys can get on board. Okay, I got to run. I'll see many of you at 10 a.m. in the primary live trade brief. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless.